Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Drawing Board. This is where Doc unmutes his mic
Mutes?
and then he gets started.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of The Drawing Board. I'm Doc, audio challenged from Trivia Night. Tonight I've got Andrew back with me, and we're going to be going over the Bride of Frankenstein piece that we started last stream. And so while we're getting everything dialed in, if you're in chat, drop a note, tell us where you're coming from, and yeah, we'd like to know who all's tuning in, and how's your week been? This has been a very busy week for us on the M1 channel. Monday night was Pop Culture Roundtable. Was it Tuesday? Was Cultural
Tuesday night
Osmosis?
was Cultural Osmosis, yeah. And then tonight
Return of the
this.
King Part 2.
Yeah, I realize I'm the only through line of all of those. It's been a busy week for Andrew.
It's been a week. Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you enjoy streaming this much, Andrew?
I will tell you, I have another stream tomorrow for a different thing. And I will say I've been sitting in front of this camera with all the lights and things quite a bit this week.
Can you actually get tan from your LCD? Can you get an LCD sunburn or burn?
No, you can't.
No. Okay.
Yeah. Confident. You can't even get tan. Like you can't even. It's not helpful at all. You could argue it's maybe more detrimental than anything because you're just staring at lights.
You get the whole blue screen tint on your glasses to help from going blind early.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
So as I say, we were just to do a real quick recap. Going to jump into the Fig Jam board and sort of go over where we started with this project with Andrew's original drawing, and then back over to his initial take at the poster layout, and just a wonky pass that I did in Procreate one evening, just sort of getting out some ideas. Last stream, we did this about 45 minutes to an hour, just sort of doing some color masking, gradient, and things of that nature to break out the shapes. Ran into some issues that I then went back and retooled the drawing. Got a much more dialed in way of coloring and adjusting colors and hues and things of that nature that we're going to go over here this evening. So basically, let me make Photoshop full screen. The way that we ended up, or that I ended up working with the colors, was giving everything its own oh, sorry, wrong. That's why I wasn't seeing it. There we go. This guy. So this file had the same. We started with Andrew's base drawing. We did some level adjustments and things of that nature. And if you remember, we did a color range picker to just sort of make everything a single color, get rid of all the grays, which, as we were talking last stream, it killed a lot of the nuances in Andrew's drawing. And neither one of us were too hot.
In graphite.
Yes.
I work primarily in graphite, and especially when I'm doing a realism drawing like this, where I'm working with shading, all of the shading nuance comes from the pressure I apply while I'm laying the pencil down. So that goes away if you just. I mean, there are almost an infinite different range of gray on this drawing as is. Like it's in the tens of thousands of different shades of gray, not just 50.
No, for sure.
And
we both
book reference for you.
Sexy book reference. That just got too muddy and lost a lot of detail. So with that, going back here to the original adjustment was sort of where I jumped back in to make sure that we didn't lose a lot of those nuances. And so basically with that, I went through and created different masks for all of the parts of this drawing. So all the cloth got one mask that was done here. And then
okay.
all of that had its own.
We're going to be able to see how you've broken this out. This is nice.
It's all chopped up, but using the one file and then linking all of those layers so that they don't move, and whatnot. So this color gradient is sort of what we started to mess with last time, where you could go in, dial in your darks, and basically this dark color here is going to be the darkest color in that layer. So we've got it set here to this blue just to sort of hint at it being white, a white wardrobe. I liked it better than having it be like a dark, like a black type of a thing, just to sort of go back to that light and airy vibe that you were wanting to get at with the bride and the initial pass at your posters. So did that with every layer, with the clothes on up to her hair, the white, or her skin, the coloring of her eyes, lips, and then like the white streak, the iconic white streak in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
I jokingly called them racing stripes the other day. Yeah. It's like that, yeah. So
I call them wisdom stripes.
Wisdom stripes.
Yeah,
I like it. So the reason that the eyes got a different treatment is because they were a part of the face, and I wanted them to stand out from the other coloring of her skin tones and things of that nature. And the way that I had to do that was just go and create another gradient map to do that. Because if I was to apply these blues to her skin mask, like all of these dark areas of the chin and the neck and under the nose, those would have those blues as well. So that is pretty much how I did all of that. And it started with the good old Intuos tablet. That was giving me a lot of trouble. Ended up moving over to using the iPad with AstroPad. I don't know if anyone has used that. I don't know if you've used that at all, Andrew.
I've used AstroPad. Yep.
I like it. There's some things with the Wacom Cintiq, or not the Cintiq, but the Wacom pen that I absolutely love, that you can't do with the Apple Pencil in Photoshop with the iPad. But it's a really, really good alternative to have a no Cintiq type of thing. So that said, I set this up as a PSD of its own, so I could just work with the coloring of the figure without having to worry about anything else remotely, like involving the poster. All of this is just your drawing is a placed smart object or a linked PSD essentially into this other PSD file.
Cool. So anything that you adjust on that external file will be reflected here if you were to save it.
Yep. And so yes, if we just wanted to, and it should do it in real time as well. Let's see if it makes a liar out of me. And you have to save it, come over here, and it should update eventually. One of the other things that I really like to do is, when I am working in large projects, you can tell Photoshop that you want a new window of the same thing that you're working on. That way you can get in and noodle here, and it will show up in real time.
Oh, okay. Instead of having to zoom in and out a whole bunch.
Yes, this is essentially like taking a step back from your canvas and seeing it in, because I definitely will get into trying to noodle and get into details and things of that nature. And when you've got it set up this way, you can very easily jump back and forth between, okay, this is how it's affecting the overall composition.
Yeah, I like that.
Can you even see it?
What is that command? Like, what if people are looking for it in the menu?
It is, go to Window, Arrange, and then there towards the bottom it says New Window for File Name. Whatever your existing file name is, it'll pop up, or populate that drop down. You just click that and it'll kick you out a new window. So I'm not 100% sure why it didn't update the smart object unless I've got it linked or locked, and that's why it's not doing anything. But
I believe this is what you said, right? Window, arrange, new window from file name.
Yeah, window, arrange, new window for file name. Yep, exactly.
Cool, awesome.
So it makes it easier when you're trying to do art adjustments to do that in a separate file, especially when you start working on anything like 1824, 2436, movie size posters. That makes it a lot easier to make adjustments so that your computer doesn't have to get bogged down with everything else that's in the linked file or the master file where you've got everything. So that's a hack shortcut that has been in the toolbox. I love it. So with that, after getting the figure coloring arranged and more to like what we were talking about last time, not quite your traditional poster type of thing, wanted to push the colors a little bit more wild and things of that nature, in reference to some of the color schemes that we had. They're very, very bright and vibrant, but
and people can go back and watch that episode. We talked at length about what made us choose this direction and the look at and everything. So if you are just tuning into this episode but didn't see the first one, hit up our YouTube page and you can watch that. Or if you subscribe to our Twitch, you can go back and watch that in the archive.
Yes. That's M of One podcast on YouTube, or is it a different handle?
Yeah, it's youtube.com/M of One podcast.
Okay, cool. So this right here, this was Photoshop. This is or Illustrator. This is where I took your title block, lockup, and things of that nature, started toying around with it. Obviously, it's very different than the choices that you had made with your title block and things of that nature. Part of that comes from me just wanting to do something a little more off the wall. Again, going with this color scheme is very off the wall for a classic, monster movie type poster.
And the other part of you just hated how I did it.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna point it out.
Hey Good Neighbor asked, connecting the dots here on the coloring with each color mask, you have used a color gradient map that responds to the pencil's values, right?
Correct. 100%. Okay. Yep. Everything that you can assign here. Let me just make this full screen so everybody can see it. The way that works, every color gradient is, there we go. All of the blacks or the darkest pigment are going to align with this dark color that you assign. So I can change that to blue, and you can sort of start seeing it here in the darkest parts, like that shifted to blue instead of the green. So same thing with your midtones, and you can have a whole bunch on the skin. It's probably where I did the most colors, and there's 4 there. You got the darks, two midtones, and then the highlights, and that was because I felt like the skin had the most like areas to have that. Just to try to get those. In all honesty, it started out as more monochromatic and made the decision to enter in those purples and pinks, again based on the conversation we had last time where you liked that deeper purple look to the coloring. So but jumping back over into Illustrator, we can see sort of the progression of some of the things I was thinking with the title block, trying to figure out, to your point, Andrew, about how it's more of a classical movie, trying to find a happy medium between surf skate, punk rock, out of the box types thinking with borders and frames and things of that nature, and still I wanted it to have some sort of like classical hints to it, but not be like completely and overtly in that realm. So started here with this more traditional type of inner and outer box type of weaving. Ultimately, it was like, yeah, that's maybe too Victorian or too elegant for what this is. Started pushing a couple of different ideas and directions. Ultimately, liked this real subtle, just sort of lightning bolt, just a hint to both her hair and as well as the lightning and storyline type. That's where I ended with that.
I do like this subtle lightning
nod.
Yeah, I like that at the bottom.
So, and again, nice thing with vectors is that they're take them or leave them. And again, taking this originally were scaled down to a quarter scale, just to try to get things roughed out. Ultimately, when I found something that I liked and wanted to move forward with, made it full scale, 1:1 here, just to try to rough out proportions and things of that nature, get it so that I could then select the artwork and paste it into Photoshop as a smart object.
And I noticed that you chose to offset the frame instead of. Well, it looks like it's more framed. It looks like it's more centered up now in the final piece. But in your mock-up, it looked like it was
low,
like weighted. Yeah, weighted to the bottom. Okay.
I was trying to strike that balance between like where it landed and hit with the type. That was one of the reasons with some of the additional frames. Like this originally, the lightning bolt was up at the top with whereas some of the lightning was happening, but then it completely got lost within type and conflict. Visually was happening there. So rework that just to sort of simplify it and have it be just a little touch there in the bottom. But still working on trying to get the type to read down here in her gown. Haven't figured out a good solution for it, because I liked the fact that her she comes in front of that background element, and then trying to figure out how to nestle this. I do like how you have yours.
Why not take I kind of dig that 3D. It almost looks like a cinerama kind of approach. Why not just do that with the purple instead of the orange, or like that like yellow color?
Because I was gonna do that with us here tonight, actually.
Awesome. Well, let's see what that looks like.
Let's jump into that.
Really well.
Yeah. Okay, and we can definitely tweak. I'm just going to put this here in the swatches panel so we can reference it later. So basically, how I did this is probably old hat to some of you, but this is built with a couple different layers. Come on, there we go. So it is a grouping of a small. Why is it doing that? Come on. Is that the one I need to ungroup? Well, shoot. There we go. Well, then let me select this. I hate it when this happens. This is always what happens when you're
doing this in front of people.
Yeah. So what I was working on to do was basically, okay, there we go. Yeah. This is a warp blend warp. using the blend
You
tool.
set a smaller version at the same line height, at the same base height, and scaled it down, and then you
Yep.
just blended between the two.
Yeah, and using the
smooth
blend
blend?
tool. It is the specific steps is what I used,
And you did
and
100?
that just 90 or 100 is typically what I'll do, and then came into the appearance and added the warp effect to sort of pull up the dialog box to play with how that was going to look. And
so you gave it that arched look.
Yeah,
You did that like what's it's not called arched. It's arch upper or something like that.
Yeah, arch upper. Yeah, arch would have curved all of the type so that there wasn't that solid baseline.
Which is, I think this is what makes it feel like that old school universal look. Like it feels like that
coming around the globe.
Yeah.
Do you like it with the more like the flat bottom, or do you like it with the arch in the type?
No, I like the flat bottom. For the purposes of the poster, I think the flat bottom makes sense.
Okay. So with that, we'll just copy this, head on over to our Photoshop document, and we will paste her as a smart object. That way we can make changes to it. All we got to do is double click. We get back to our vectors real quick and easy. Drag it down, hit enter, and let's see, is that the yellow? Yes. Purple. So yeah, that's how that's done. And then it's completely scalable as a vector. Drop it in as a smart object. But yeah, so that's, I did, going back to what you were saying about how you would have done it versus how I would have done it. The way that you have the initial title block locked up, I do think is very nice. And I did struggle greatly after I blew the top and the margins on the Bride of Frankenstein, then trying to figure out how to nestle in the actors' names and like the universal picture copy. That became a huge, like, well, crap. I liked how Andrew had it all nestled in there, but I like how the type breaks the edges. So that was sort of the wrestling back and forth of the artists and where all of those pieces and elements went. So, but do you have a thought, a pairing of the type in a different spot as far as the names, actor names?
No, I think maybe what I would do, or maybe how I would approach that, since you are kind of going down the inside of that box, is maybe justify it.
Okay.
That way, and see how that plays, because of the crick of her neck. Maybe dropping that down. Oh, you have that in as a smart object. You didn't do that as text. Okay.
Yep. Yes, I didn't go back and reset it.
So if you do that, if you pull that down, yeah. I would still maybe keep it over to the side a little bit more, but like that fits the shape like of the nape of her neck into the shoulder. That feels like it has good presence there.
Yeah, I agree. I just remembered why when I saved this file, it didn't update in this, because I went in and I named this one color variant because I wanted to do an experiment and see, since we're coloring her hair and skin tones and things of that nature, I made this one to drop it in, and we could swap back and forth between where I had gotten it to, and then if we wanted to do another color variant here in the remaining time that we've got. So we can take some suggestions from chat. You can give me some suggestions as well of what we want to jump in and change first. or play with. So
Yeah, chat. Tell us while we wait for you to answer. We want to hear. Give us a couple of color ideas that you'd like to see us play with, and specify hair/skin. So what to do with it. But while that's happening, Kate did say that it looks good and she wants one. So maybe we have one purchaser of this thing. And Kate, yes, if you do have one of these framed in your office, it will pass our next inspection.
Did she ask that?
Yes,
Please tell me she asked
She
that.
said, "Will my office pass if I frame one in my office?"
Yes.
And then okay, so we got from Jedi Robbie's. Let's see here. Let's do let's drop his here. Hair blue and pink, like cotton candy.
You want? I'm assuming
cotton candy variant. This is like a Beetlejuice variant right now, right?
Yes, cotton candy variant. All right, let's see. You want the? I'm assuming you want. It would make sense to have it be. Okay.
Probably not like our space right now. Both of our spaces. It's probably like this.
Yes. Do we want to make the predominant color like a deeper pink and go to lighter blue highlights, or like the lights in the hair?
I don't know. Because I need to see a version of it first, maybe. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I would think blue would be the darker tone. I would think.
Yes, that's where I was going for first, and I was like, I'm curious now. What would happen if we made it?
But once you lay out the gradient, then can't you just reverse the gradient?
You can, yes.
So it would literally be just like, if it's like it is in Illustrator, you can literally just click like a reversal and it'll just flip them all.
Yeah, true.
Jedi said, I like darker blue as the main.
Okay. Oh wait, we were going to pink, weren't we?
Yes. Yeah, blue to pink.
This is where the trial and error jumps in. You're sort of like playing with it. Does this work? Actually, you know what? I'm just going to kill that. And then from there we can figure out, do we need more blue in here? So I'm going to
Let's make that blue less dark. Let's make it
You want to make it less dark?
Yeah, let's brighten it up. So it reads as blue, because it was kind of reading as black.
In the spectrum here, like come down a little bit closer to the green. And then
I don't know, I was kind of liking where it was before.
As far as being the dark, or more blue, or the darker blue.
How about you do that? Can you zoom in on her head for us so that we're only seeing her head? That'll help. There we go.
One of the things that I wanted to try to do is keep some of the darks the same intensity. So we've got the super darks here in her eyebrow and eyelashes and some of the parts of her neck. I wanted to make sure that there was some of that in those deep parts. What we can do is from there just bring out another blue and then just come up like that.
Oh, I'm digging that. Jedi saying let's go hot pink.
More hot pink. Is that just sort of a lighter magenta?
Hot pink. I would just go to the very far. I would needle that thing in the right.
Whoops.
Whoop.
Bury it.
Hot jambalaya.
A little bit back in. Actually, we slipped into the purples, didn't we?
Right, that goes a bit more purple.
Then we'll slide this back over here.
We've got a lot of happening in the chat right now. Neon it up, outer glow, then bevel and emboss.
Bevel and emboss. Man, I don't even want to know what the bevel and emboss looks like on her hair. But yes, to your point,
You want the hair to sound like.
So yes, like what you were saying about it's real easy just to do the reverse. Another way to go about doing it is dropping in a hue saturation on top of your gradient map and then dial it in, fine tune it.
I kind of dig that like poppy red with the purple. I kind of dig that. Not with the green racing stripe, but
we can tweak the racing stripes. Here we go.
Kate says, "Ooh, baby." That's how I read that, by the way. Ooh, baby.
Yes. So let's see. What would be a good way to? I don't hate that.
Yeah, I don't hate that either.
Do you like the blues or the purples?
I'd go bluer. Yeah, more like that. Bring a little bit more. Take a little bit more of the green out of it. Just a hair. Yeah, that's looking sharp. That looks good. Like legit, like I dig that.
That's pretty cool. So ultimately, I think if I had actually, you know what? I can do that. I can grab the original.
In the business, we call that the OG.
Just the OG.
I know you're new to this, but
yes. Well, I mean, back in my day, we before OG was a thing. So I'm gonna drop that in here.
Have you ever heard someone say the original OG? That just feels a little redundant.
Yeah, true. So from here, like if we did that method, because this is our coloring this mask. Here's where we got it, and then we tweaked the hue saturation to get it here from where we were. Now I'm real curious what that looks like. Completely different. Dig it. Okay. Do we want to do anything with her skin?
You know what it looks like to me? It looks a bit like Lucille Ball.
It
like if Lucille Ball were playing this role. Yeah, can we I don't know what to do with her skin. Let's get funky with it. Let's just try something funky.
Well, all right. We'll start with the hue saturation.
Because now the overall palette is reading very red.
Yes, true. So what we can do, we can do another
dead, like blue tones.
Dead. We'll go. You want the shadows to be more blue?
Yeah, let's just make her look, like paler.
And take all of the
icy, almost.
Icy.
Not moisty.
Icy. Icy.
Oh, icy.
There we go. There's the Simpsons version.
Yeah. That starts to read more as like a natural skin tone right there.
Yeah. I should maybe. You said icy. I was thinking like pushing her to the blues.
Yeah.
But all right, let's try the hue saturation.
Think cadaver. Like it's been laying on the table at the morgue for a few days.
There's your sunburnt version.
Okay, so I generally like go back some. I generally liked that blue, but it was doing something to the darks that I didn't like. It was starting to make the darks feel green.
Do you like the in there? But
I like that.
we'll
That
have
seems
to
maybe
tweak the darks.
Yeah, it seems maybe a little extreme.
Okay.
Really, what we're showing here is just how much fine tuning needs to happen. Ooh, yeah.
You like that blue? The more of the cadaver.
Yeah.
And then from here,
I keep trying to zoom in on my screen. It doesn't work that way. We don't
sorry.
do that. I think if you scroll down, her arms work really well to me.
Okay. So
But
if
her
you
face
want,
has a lot more of those green tints in it.
yes, tints.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I said what I said.
Do you want to make another layer for her face and knock out and have her arms be a different? That would make sense to have her arms be a different color, would it?
No, we want her arms to be the same color. But I just mean, like, is there a way of pulling those greens out?
Yeah. That will be
in your actual
a
grade.
little interesting because of the color mask, or like the shifting the hue saturation,
Right.
But it'll be a little bit of guesswork.
Because it looks like it's happening in the two darkest tones.
Yes, so I'm gonna just keep that, put that up there. Two darkest tones.
It's Tolene says another hue saturation, target green and pull it to purples.
Selective color, maybe? Or
Maybe.
you let's try the
Another hue saturation, target the green.
I've never targeted a color. How do you target a color? Is that just colorizing it?
That doesn't look like it.
No.
I can't see your panel. It's too tiny.
Okay, there we go. Target the
Yes.
greens.
Yes.
Okay, right on. Why did that? Okay, there we go. That's the wrong one. Put that one up top. And then this is the one that we will target the greens.
You know what I love about this now?
What?
This started off as me drawing because I was inspired by the film. Then you saw the drawing and you were inspired to paint her. And then now the community is putting this whole thing together. Like this has become a community art project.
100%.
I like that.
Tolene, or Jared, I had no idea that you could target. That's pretty awesome. That panel has been staring me in the face for I don't know how many years, and I've never checked into it.
You want me to look up when that panel released on the Adobe Photoshop program?
I mean, it's probably been there for at least a decade.
1986.
2 decades. 4 decades.
Now I think you can pull I think you can pull it back some, just like the intensity of it. But I think that's the right color tones, but just pull the intensity of it back just a little bit. Because she looks a little bit like you're turning violet, right? Like from Willy Wonka, just a little, because it's a little too saturated.
Cool. I now am curious about seeing how well that works with doing a selective color. And this, again, there are so many different ways to do the same thing.
Did you realize that the green came back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I dropped in, I turned off the hue saturation where we targeted the greens. And I was curious to see if you could get a similar or more targeted view by going into the selective color and just choosing the greens and pulling out those channels a little bit more. It is what would that be? Would that be yellows and pull out? I don't know how many everybody else just a lot of times we'll, what does this do? And just slam the sliders to either side till something changes. And you're like, oh, that's what that was.
You gotta play in the extremes sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Do you like that? You good with that?
Yeah, I like it as a variant for sure. I want to see what she looks like. One thing I don't like about our community, you want to hear it?
Yeah, drop it
Is
on me.
when our community brags about the fact that they're sitting here watching us do this while eating Gideon's cookies.
I
I'm
don't
not
even know
even
what a
gonna
Gideon
dignify
cookie
that.
is, and I don't like that.
I'm not going to dignify that by putting it up on screen, Kate. I don't like
You,
your attitude.
yeah, you,
I don't like
you
it
may
one
have
bit.
just failed your next studio tour.
Yeah, you're gonna have to buy 2 pieces of Doc and Andrew originals.
You want to see what shifting her gown colors would do?
Yeah, let's make it eggshell white.
Eggshell white.
Why don't you give her what's a funky 80s? Ooh, I see what you're doing there. So you really start to see the loss in depth when you make the colors real bright.
Yes, that basically
So
it kills.
it's a serious balance. Yeah.
Got some like Frank Miller stuff happening right there.
I don't hate that either. That's kind of cool.
That knocked out.
I don't know if people get I don't know if it reads the right way.
Yeah.
But like, what if you did that to her hair, like her racing stripes?
Okay. One thing that we will have to be careful about is pushing her gown yellow and having that read in this yellow space. Like that was another level.
I like the white.
Let me do this. How many panels I got? I got 3. Let's do 3 wide. So let me see. Let's make a where is the duplicate from? Why can't I do that? There we go. New smart object. Yeah, copy. Actually, no, that's not what I want to do. Let's go ahead and just import or place linked file. And we will drop in the... Do I have to save this? Is that what's happening? Oh, maybe I was in the wrong file. Now I can place. Yep, I was trying to place the file as a linked file into itself, which
Into itself.
wasn't
I don't think
gonna
that
work.
works.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Not at all. So if we want to look at something that we went over last time, when transforming, I will usually put a layer on difference, grab an identifiable point like this piece of her gown, line that up, and then with transform, holding down option, clicking, that will set your point of scale, and then from there everything scales up from that point, allowing you to lock in a lining everything up much more quickly. Do your fine tuning.
That's a pretty nice trick. What is that again? I'll throw it up on the screen.
That's when you transform an object. Well, first you paste in your new object. You go from normal to difference in your layer blend mode, and then from there you will hit Command T for transform. Find an identifiable point and align those in the 2 drawings, Usually what I will do is I'll bring them off, find the point, put my arrow on it, and then look for that same point in the other layer.
Sure.
Hold down Option, click on that point or in that relative area. You want to zoom in and get it like super dialed in, do there, then Command 0 if you're on a Mac, zoom out, and then just holding down Option Shift if you've got legacy scaling for Photoshop and need the shift constraints proportions, hold that down and you can make that happen. Is that convoluted enough for you?
Well, I tried to simplify it as much as possible. Nope, wrong one. Here we go. This one. Transform, Option plus click, Option plus shift.
Yep.
The other stuff you have to find your point of reference. But
yes.
And the difference, you don't have to have it set to a blend mode of difference. That's just what you do to.
That helps me see, and it'll let you know when it lines up. Because if you're off, you'll be able to see
like
those.
A missed registration, or
yes.
It will look like that neon embossed.
Yes. Yes. So there's our two colorways, and if we want to, I imagine that we could probably throw in a hue saturation to do a quick shift on the background and see if there's anything that, come on. Harmonizes or complements. I wonder, like, looking at some of these, I'm like, these are pretty cool. There's no way this is going to print in CYK well. I sort of like that coral type of color.
I like the coral. I would take her dress back to the original white,
the blue
setup that you have, and that I think that would look tight.
So let's see what we got here. We'll save that. Come back over here. Boom.
Oh man, that's pretty.
There's the sort of yellow. Whoops. There's back at the blue dress.
Did you take a snapshot of that?
In my history snapshot?
Yeah.
I have not. So there's our two colorways. We got the yellow and green colorway, and we got the coral and purple.
I'm really digging that. You could probably pull some of the purple out of her skin tone a little bit more, because like the highlights start to kind of go away.
Muddy, yeah.
Right.
I agree.
But that's like a really just a matter of fine tuning, you know.
Yes. And that's usually what happens after stream. Well, I'll sit here and noodle with it for a couple hours.
So with that being said, okay, so let's can we bring just her, or no, just her, the full poster back up?
Sure.
In these final minutes, can we talk through so the two colorways, if you're talking variants, you've got the original pencil, and then you've got the Beetlejuice variant and the cotton candy variant. Those are the two mock-ups that we've done. And honestly, I would own any of them. I do own one of them.
You own the original too.
For what it's worth. I dig that. So my question would be, Doc, in these final moments tonight, what have you learned from working specifically with my work? Because this is the third or fourth thing I think we've talked about that you have taken of mine and you've painted on top of. What have you learned that may be unique about the things that I do? Are you starting to pick up on nuances or things that I do in my work that, or like techniques that I employ that you can now recognize from being able to, or from going in and looking at this in such a fine detail?
This is the first one that I've done that has been one of your more realistic renderings. Like most of the other things that I've partnered with have been in the cartoon, like Disney Sphere. So this provided.
The very first one you did, though, was a realistic drawing. It was Gwendolyn Christie and Tormund. I can't remember his actor's name from Game of Thrones. I think that was the very first one you painted with.
Oh, yes,
for
yes.
That show.
Yes.
With
1988 M squared.
I think it was M squared. He was it was it Sinopolis? No, that was the Bride, Princess Bride piece, which I don't think.
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
But that other one was a real. I think you've done 2 realisms,
2 of each,
and 2 like animated. Yeah.
I will say the realistic ones, I don't go back and re-ink, or not re-ink, but I don't ink them. Whereas with the more cartoon, like the Medusa, and your Mickey, I will take your pencil drawing and then do an inking on top of it.
You're essentially redrawing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas this one, these you don't.
Yeah, left it alone and simply was trying to figure out how to colorize your drawings. The re-inking and working with those shapes is a much faster process than going in and trying to color the graphite drawing. I will say it is very rewarding to see the 2 differences that you will draw and how you will draw.
What do you mean by that? Can you break that down?
Just the breadth of your line quality when you will go from something more realistic where there is a lot of like tonal shift in the weight of the graphite on the paper in the portrait rendering, whereas, and this is just sort of like the nature of cartoons, there is sort of that key line, hard line pencil drawing that locks the shape in, where you're not going to render a cartoon like this unless you're just having.
I'd like for you to do my either my Betty White and or my Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think those would be fun to see you.
You think we'd get more traction if we did the Rock?
I don't know. Maybe we might get a cease and desist, which could be just as fun.
Yeah, 100%. There's a little bit of pleasure in a cease and desist. But,
I would frame it if Dwayne My Rock Johnson,
rocked your world with a cease and desist.
Yeah, I absolutely would do that. This was a fun like experiment, right? We don't know if people are I have to share this. This was just in the chat. Can you smell what the doc is cooking? That's pretty fantastic. Thank you for that.
Dan, it's good to see you in here, bud.
This is a fun experiment. What are the odds of us actually taking these and making them into digital prints for people? Like, what does that look like?
I would say
you wouldn't separate this. We're not going to do there would be no reason to screen print this, right?
Oh, no. That would be a lot of time sitting at the printing table. It would have to be at least like, it'd be one of those like Mondo 12 color releases to get it to look right. I don't think either one of us have the time or the money to pull that off right now. But
I'll tell you what, I don't have the time or the money, but I'll support you in both.
Support me in doing it? Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I really do wish I knew how the printer at D&L Print Shop will take a like flat JPEG and then pull the separations out of that. Like, it blows my mind that that's even a thing.
There's a print that I have. I got it several years ago for the Ninja Turtle show, the TMNT show, and it looks like a watercolor. And I asked one of the creative directors there, like, how did this is a giclée, right? And they said, no, this is a screen print. He sent us a watercolor, and or like he took a photograph of his watercolor, and then we brought it in and we separated it. I'm like, I don't know how, like, the finesse you have to have in pulling all that out, the half toning and all of the dithering you'd have to, like, the fine dithering you'd have to do, because you can't even tell. I wish I had it here. It's at my office, but it's so delicate. And when you think of screen printing, you don't think of delicate.
No,
right?
None at all.
Yeah.
I will say, like, definitely next time you go into the office, take a photo of it and drop it in the Slack channel for. You want to put it in the art gallery or general?
Yeah, I'll put it. Well, gallery would imply that I did it. We'll put it somewhere.
Okay.
We'll put it somewhere, and then we'll just reference back to this, because it's honestly, it's a beautiful piece, and you'd never know it was screen printed if you understand how screen printing works. You never know that it's screen printed, because it's just very, very delicate and very fine.
Man, yeah, I can't wait to see that. So, but that brings us to nearly the top of the hour. Do you have anything else that you want to ask, or anybody in the chat have a question about anything that we talked about or didn't get to that you were expecting to? Drop us a note in there. Up next for the drawing board, I have been buying some ink and going to be doing like a comparison of, what lays down, what happens when you do a wash with it, and things of that nature. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. Still trying to get the drawings and art figured out for the woodblock and Xerox transfer session that we talked about a couple sessions ago. But yeah, so that about does it for us this evening. So thanks for tuning in. Andrew, thank you so much for coming and sitting in on a very full week for you.
Yeah.
Of all of the streaming.
Let's just pretend like it was me being gracious and not me being controlling over my art.
That's fair. I mean, you're the nicest hovering art director I've ever had.
The hovering art director. That's a podcast title. The hovering art director.
You've seen the Adobe action figure, right? The hovering art director? No. I'll drop a link in Slack. Okay. Which, by the way, you can find out more about the M of One podcast over at mof1.network. There you can join the Slack community. You can preview past episodes of the podcast. And anything else they can do from there? I think we still have the Patreon link, but does it go anywhere?
No, that's gone.
Okay.
If it's not gone, it should be. It doesn't do anything. But you can get to our Slack from there. You can get to our archive from there with, like, literally hundreds of episodes, and I think that's pretty much all that you can do. Oh, you can get to, like, a shop where you can get some goodies from us and some of our favorite friends. But yeah, check out mof1.network where you can find all this stuff. We've been going live a lot. So Twitch is the place to be if you want to see what's going on. This very visual format. This is where you want to be.
And to subscribe here on Twitch, you don't even need to do any money trading. You got Bezos bucks if you got an Amazon Prime account, right?
You don't need to do any money trading.
Don't have to do any money trading hands is where I was trying to get out, but old man Doc was cooking something and affected my brain. So yes, if you have an Amazon Prime account, just use that monthly subscription to support the channel here, and subscribe, get notifications of when we do go live. It happens every Monday unless the world ends or it's a holiday or something like that. You guys are pretty consistent on every Monday. So, but and that'll be next Monday is the Pop Culture Roundtable. And do you have any teasers for Monday?
Teasers for Monday. No, because I don't know what everyone's talking. I know what I'm talking about. I've got a Kickstarter game that we're gonna be talking about, but
right on.
We'll see what everyone else brings to the table.
Right on. So if you want to say hello on socials, M of One podcast on Instagram. There's not a Twitter. It's just Instagram, right?
Just go to Instagram.
Just go to Instagram. And you are Andrew Sale with 3s instead of E's. And I am Redicus.
Just like this.
Just like that. You were smart and used your handle. I did not. But that's a wrap for us tonight. We're out of here. I'm Doc.
I'm Andrew.
Yippee-ki-yay.
See ya.